Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Mem Ches Amud Beis 48b of Maseches Kiddushin. We're starting from 2 lines down from the top of the page, and the Gemara is discussing a brisa. The brisa talked about a case where a woman brought some raw gold or silver to a goldsmith, silversmith, and she said, make jewelry out of this, and that should be the Kiddushin. I'll be receiving the upgraded version of these materials. They'll be upgraded to useful jewelry, and that benefit should be the Kiddushin. So the Brisa had said that, according to Rabbi Meir, it sounds like it was saying once the items are completed, then it's Kiddushin. And the Chachamim said it's not Kiddushin until the mammon reaches her hand. Meaning it sounds like until she gets these materials. And the Gemara went through a discussion that how could it be that Rabbi Meir would consider it Kiddushin even before she receives it back? She has to receive something for Kiddushin. So the Gemara understood that can't be, that she's not actually getting anything. Rather, we're talking about when he returns the items to her, the completed items, and the Gemara had a suggestion that, so then what are they arguing about? She's received them back, it should be Kiddushin. So the Gemara understood that the Brisa is having a machlokas. Perhaps what they're arguing about is how we look at the debt that she owes him for the job. Ultimately, where's the Kiddushin here? The Kiddushin would be from she owes him money for completing the job, and he's kind of forgiving that payment, and that could be the Kiddushin, that benefit, that monetary benefit that she has, that he's not making her pay. And the Gemara thought maybe they're arguing about how the payment works and whether it's a loan, whether it's not a loan, and they wanted to suggest they were arguing related to lending to doing Kiddushin with a loan, and the Gemara basically avoided that possibility. There's nothing to do with Kiddushin with the loan, and ultimately we have other explanations for what the argument is about. So now the Gemara is going to suggest V'bayisema, so 2 lines down, and if you want, you can say, Dekuliyama yashna l'schirus mitchila v'adsov. It could be, everybody agrees that the money is owed as a accumulating debt. That as he does the work, she now owes him money. And so she's accumulating debt, and it's like a loan. But yet they could still hold that everybody holds umekadesh b'milva eina mekudeshes. They could also hold that, like Rav is the opinion that we've been discussing the last few weeks, that mekadesh b'milva eina mekudeshes, we try to betroth someone with a loan, it's not Kiddushin. So everybody agrees that there's a loan here, that there's money owed, but everybody agrees that if you do Kiddushin with a loan, it doesn't work. So then, why would the Chachamim say, why would Rabbi Meir say that there's Kiddushin here? If it's with a loan, everybody agrees that there's no Kiddushin with a loan. So says the Gemara, they're arguing about something else. V'hacha be'uman kona b'shvach kli kamiflagi. They're arguing about whether the uman, whether the craftsman acquires part of the kli when he upgrades it. And so the idea would be, this has ramifications in many areas, in other areas of halacha as well, that he took raw gold and he changed it into a working piece of jewelry now. So the question would be, does she just owe him money for having done, a good job? Like, she just has to pay him spiros, pay him wages for doing it? Or there's an idea that it's a machlokas perhaps, but that the uman, the craftsman, actually acquires the vessel, acquires at least a portion of the vessel, And so in this case, where he upgraded the gold into jewelry now, he actually now owns a piece of that jewelry. He can't keep it. She has the right to pay him for it. But when she's paying for it, if she would pay him for it, she would be buying it from him. Buying that right. It's not just that she's paying him for the job. She's actually buying the share that he has acquired when he upgraded the state of this material into jewelry. So they're arguing about that very point. Does the craftsman acquire a portion of the materials that he has upgraded? So, Mar Savar Uman Kona B'Shvachkli. One opinion holds that Uman, the craftsman, does acquire, in which case he owns these items to some extent. So when he gives it to her, he's actually giving her something of his own, and that's Kiddushin. So Rabbi Meir holds Uman Kona B'Shvachkli. The Uman, the craftsman, acquires a portion of when he upgrades the vessel, the items, and so when he gives it to her, he's actually giving her something of his own, and it's Kiddushin. Umar Savar Ein Uman Kona B'Shvachkli, and the Chachamim who say it's not Kiddushin, they hold that the craftsman does not acquire anything, and therefore he's not giving her something when he gives her back her own materials, he's just giving her back her own materials. She owes him money, but that money has been accumulating, it's a loan, and you can't do Kiddushin with a loan. So that would be why the Chachamim say it's not Kiddushin. If you want, you could say, Tikuliyama ein uman kona b'shvachkli. Really, no. Everybody agrees that he does not acquire anything. He does not. The craftsman does not acquire a portion of the kelim. And you could say it's an accumulating debt, and there's a debt here. And you can say that if you do Kiddushin with a loan, it's not Kiddushin. So he doesn't own a portion of it. The debt is accumulating, which means it's a loan. And if you try to do Kiddushin with a loan, it doesn't work. Everybody agrees to that. So why would Rabbi Meir still say that there's Kiddushin here? Here, what are we dealing with? We're talking about the case was where he added a jewel of his own to the jewelry. So now there's for sure something of his that's coming along with it. When he gives her back the jewelry now, he's not just giving her her own items, he's actually giving her a jewel. He added a diamond, a stone of some sort to the jewelry. So is that, and he gives it to her for Kiddushin. So is that Kiddushin or not? So why would it not be? So again, Demar Savar Milvo Pruta Daitea Pruta. The question is, here she owes him money alone, we said. She has a debt, she owes him money, and he's giving her something. So the question is, when he says this is your Kiddushin, what's going through her head? Is she concentrating, is she thinking about the debt that he's granting her, the money that she owes that he's now giving her? Or is she thinking about the jewel? What does she view as the Kiddushin? So the first opinion holds, Mar Savar Milvo Pruta Daitea Pruta. One opinion holds that if he gives her a loan and a pruta, here it's more than a pruta, but the point is and money, what is she thinking about is the Kiddushin? Daitea Pruta. Or actually, also, what is he thinking about, it seems? What is his intent? So, probably both their intent, really. Are they thinking about the pruta? The additional pruta, in this case the additional stone, in which case, if that's what they're thinking about, then that's Kiddushin. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Umar Savar Daitea Milva. And the Chachamim would say it's not Kiddushin, that's because they say the person's thinking about the loan. They're not, when they give it, they're not thinking about the stone being the object that's bringing about the Kiddushin, and therefore it's not a Kiddushin, because you can't do Kiddushin with the loan. Uvepugta dahani tanai. And the truth is that this machlokas, this dispute is really the dispute of the following Tanaim as well. The Tanya, we learned in a Brisa. If a man gives a woman Kiddushin as follows. He says, B'mekudeshes to me, B'schar shasisi imach. For the payment that I worked for you. So he did work for her, like our case. and then he says, you owe me money, let that money that you owe me be the Kiddushin. Eina Mikudashes. That's not Kiddushin. Why? Because it's a loan. It's money owed. So that can't be the Kiddushin. Bischar she'aseh imach. But if he says, for the work that I'm going to do for you, Mikudashes. So then it is Kiddushin. When? So it would mean when he completes the work and then gives her the item, it would be Kiddushin, because this brisa would hold that the payment is not accumulating, so it's not a debt, it's only due now, and so it could be a Kiddushin, because at this moment he's giving her, as he gives her the item, he's there's no accumulative debt, that there's a loan here, it's just a payment due now, that could be the Kiddushin. Rabbi Nassan Omer, Rabbi Nassan says, Bischar she'aseh imcha eina mikudashes. He says, no. Rabbi Nassan says, when you say, for the work that I'm going to do for you, it's not Kiddushin even when you return the object, you return the completed object, because Rabbi Nassan holds that it is a cumulative debt. As he does the work, she owes him, therefore it's a loan, and it can't be the Kiddushin. V'kol shekain bischar she'aseh imcha. And for sure, if it's already in the past, it won't work. That's for sure a loan, that for sure won't work. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Omer, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, Be'emes Omer, in truth they said, Bein bischar she'asisi. Whether he says for the work that I did in the past, that you owe me for, Bein bischar she'aseh imcha, whether he says for the work that I'm going to do, Eina mikudashes, either way it's not Kiddushin. So he seems to be agreeing to Rabbi Nassan that either way it's not Kiddushin. Then he adds one thing and he says, Ve'im hosif la nofach mishalo, but if he adds his own jewel, and his own stone to the jewelry that he's fixed for her, or whatever he did for her, if he adds something of his own materials, mikudashes, then it is Kiddushin. So we have in this brisa three opinions. The first opinion said, if it's in the past, if it's work that he already did that she owes him for, that can't be Kiddushin, because that's a debt, that's a loan, that can't be the Kiddushin. If it's work that he's going to do, then that she doesn't yet owe him for, so then that could be Kiddushin when he completes the work and gives her back the object, because the payment is only due then, according to their opinion. And Rabbi Nassan says, no, even there it's no good, because the payment is the debt is cumulative and it's a loan. So that's what the Gemara now explains. Bein Tanakama Rabbi Nassan, between that first opinion and the opinion of Rabbi Nassan, Ika Beinayu, there is between them, meaning what they're arguing about is schirus, the way wages work, if it's cumulative or it's only due at the end. And then we had that Rabbi Nassan had said either way it doesn't work, whether it's for past wages, whether it's for future work that I'm going to do, either way it doesn't work. And the last opinion, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, but as long as he adds something, it does work. But he seems to be arguing on Rabbi Nassan. So what are they arguing about? Being Rabbi Nassan or Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, between the opinions of Rabbi Nassan and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, what they're arguing, Ika Beinayu, we have between them, they are arguing about milva upruta, about what are they thinking when you have a loan and a pruta, a loan and another object. Mar savar milva upruta daitea milva. The opinion of Rabbi Nassan, who said that it's not Kiddushin, he seemed to imply even if he would add something of his own, it wouldn't be Kiddushin. That's because there's a debt here, and he's adding something, a pruta, a stone or something. And so, what are they thinking about? So he holds they're thinking about the loan, and the loan can't be Kiddushin, and therefore it's not Kiddushin. Umar Savar, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, who said it is Kiddushin, holds Daitea Pruta, that their mind is on that pruta, that stone that he added, and therefore it is a good Kiddushin. So that's exactly what we've been saying. We're trying to say that the brisa that we've been trying to explain, the Machlokas Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim, in this case where she gave him jewelry and she gave him gold and he upgraded it, we said in the end, the case could be where he added his own stone, and they're arguing about what are they thinking about for the Kiddushin. Are they thinking about the debt, in which case it wouldn't be Kiddushin, or are they thinking about the stone, in which case it is Kiddushin? And we're saying that could be the same Machlokas as we find between Rabbi Nassan and Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi in this other brisa. Okay. On to the next Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Hiskadshili bekos zeh shel yayin. A man says to a woman, accept Kiddushin for me for this cup of wine. And she accepts it, v'nimtza shel dvash, and it turns out that it's not wine, it's honey. Or, shel dvash, or he says, accept Kiddushin from me for this cup of honey. V'nimtza shel yayin, it turns out it's wine. Or, he says, b'dinar zeh shel kesef, accept this silver dinar, v'nimtza shel zav, it turns out that it's gold. Or shel zav, v'nimtza shel kesef, or he says, accept this gold dinar, and it turns out it's silver. Or, Menashani Ashir. He says, accept Kiddushin to me on condition that I'm very rich. V'nimtza ani, turns out he's poor. Ani, or he says, on condition that I'm poor. V'nimtza Ashir, and turns out he's rich. In all these cases, says the Mishnah, Eina Mekudeshes, it's not Kiddushin. Because what she accepted wasn't true. He said, it's wine, it was honey. Or he said, it's honey, it was wine. He said, it's gold, it was silver. Or that it's silver, it was gold. She didn't get what she thought she was getting. Or he said, he's rich and he's poor. Or the opposite. Either way, since she didn't get what she thought she was getting, it's not Kiddushin. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, Im hitta l'shvach mikudeshes. If he tricked her in a better way, then it is Kiddushin. So Rabbi Shimon says, no, it depends on the case. I assume that here wine is considered better than honey. And so if he said it was honey, it turned out to be wine. Then if she accepted honey, she'll for sure accept wine, Rabbi Shimon says. If she accepted silver, she'll be happy to get gold too. If she accepted a poor guy, she'll be happy to get a rich guy. So all of those, according to Rabbi Shimon, would still work. It's only when it's less than what she was expecting that it's not Kiddushin. So we have a machlokas Tanakama, the first opinion. The Chachamim say either way it's not Kiddushin. You didn't get what you were expecting. And Rabbi Shimon says as long as it's better than what you were expecting, then it is Kiddushin. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Hiskadshili bekos zeh. If a man says, be mikudeshes to me with this cup. So that was our case, this cup of wine. So the Gemara now quotes a number of brisas that report this, what the case is in a few different ways. Tani chada bo u'b'masha b'socho. One brisa, one Tana taught that that when, or I guess when a person says, be mekudesh to me with this cup, what do they mean? So one Tana said it means with the cup itself and with what's inside the cup. So I guess let's take a step back. We have a case, hiskadshili bekos zeh. Putting aside it was the wrong thing, it was supposed to be wine, it was honey, forget that for a second. A man says, be mekudesh to me with this cup. So what does he mean with this cup? Does he mean the cup, but not the contents? Or the contents and not the cup? Or does he mean both? What does he mean? Because it makes a difference. Because if the cup is half a pruta, and the contents are half a pruta, then you have a pruta. But if the cup, if you're looking at both, but if you're only looking at one of them, then you don't have a pruta there. It wouldn't be a Kiddushin. So what does he mean when he says that? So one Tana said he means bo u'masha b'sochel. He means the cup and what's inside. The Tanya Yidach, another brisa said, bo v'lo b'masha b'sochel. He means with it, but not with what's inside. The Tanya Yidach, and a third Tanya said, b'masha b'sochel v'lo bo. He just means what's inside, but not the cup itself. So it seems to be you have three different opinions here. One says it's the cup and not the contents. One says it's the contents, not the cup. One says it's both. Says the Gemara v'lo kashya. It's not a problem. Ha-b'maya, ha-b'chamer, ha-b'tziara. One is talking about water. One is talking about wine. And one is talking about tsiara, which is some kind of oil. It might be fish oil. It could be used for dipping foods. Which one's which? So if a man says, be mekudesh to me with this cup, and there's water in the cup, then we assume it's the cup and not the contents. Only the cup is going to go into the cheshbon, to the calculation. Because, nobody needs your water. If he says, if it turns out that it is wine, so then, or at least the way that Rashi learns here, Rashi learns that if it's wine, then you're just getting the inside, the contents of the cup, but not the cup itself. Because that's how you do it. You give someone wine, you drink the wine, and then you give it back. So the expectation is that you're not keeping the cup when you're being given wine. So therefore, we only would look at the contents if it was wine. But if it was tiara, if it was this fish oil, which is used for dipping, so since you don't finish it in one shot and just give it back, you hold on to it, you put it in the fridge for a few weeks. So therefore, if the Kiddushin was done with this fish oil, so then we would assume that he's giving her both the cup and the contents, and therefore we would add the values of the cup and the contents together to see if they're worth a pruta. Okay. Now Rabbi Shimon said in the Mishnah, the Tanakama, the first opinion said, if it's not what you were expecting, it's not Kiddushin. Rabbi Shimon said, if it's an upgrade, then it's Kiddushin. Asks the Gemara, does Rabbi Shimon not hold of the following halacha? The following halacha is talking about if somebody sells wine. I guess we could read it. It says, Yayin v'nimtza chometz. You sell wine, it turns out that it's vinegar. Or chometz v'nimtza yayin, or you sell vinegar, it turns out it's wine. Shneim yecholin lachzer bahem. Both of them can take it back. In both cases. Actually, it means both the buyer and the seller. They make a mistake. He thought he was selling him wine, it turned out it was vinegar. Or vinegar, or it turned out it was wine. So either of them, the buyer or the seller, can say, oh, whoops, I thought I was selling you this, or I thought I was buying this, and they can take it back. Now, we understand if you're offering vinegar, if you're offering wine, it turns out it's vinegar, the buyer should be able to renege. But why would he be able to renege if he thought he was buying vinegar and he got wine? That's an upgrade. So what we see, says the Gemara, Alma, we see some people prefer wine, some people prefer vinegar, and some people prefer wine. It depends, if you have a recipe that needs vinegar, so then you want vinegar, you don't want wine. So it might depend on the circumstances. And that's why we don't always say, well, if it's more expensive, if it's wine, it's better. It depends. And therefore, either the buyer or the seller can say, this is a mekachtos, this sale was done in error, and I want to cancel the sale. So hachanami, so here too, some people want silver and don't want gold. It depends, It depends what matches your outfit better, or your furniture, or whatever it might be. Just because gold is more valuable doesn't mean you always want it more than silver. So how could Rabbi Shimon say that as long as it's more valuable, she'll accept it? Maybe not. Maybe she wanted silver specifically, and when she finds out it's not silver, she doesn't want it anymore. So does he not hold of this idea when it comes to sales? Does he not know that sometimes one person likes one thing better? Why would we assume that it's Kiddushin? So Amar Rav Shimi bar Ashi said, Ashkachte le'Abaye, I found Abaye, de Yosef v'kamazber le'ledrei. He was explaining this to his son, what the pshat is, what the explanation here is. Hacha b'mayas kingdom, here what are we dealing with? Kigon she'amar l'shlucho halveni dinar shel kasef. A man said to his agent, lend me a dinar of silver, v'leich v'kadesh li isha plonis, and go be mekadesh this certain woman for me. So a man tells his agent, I don't have any money on me, can you take a silver dinar and go and give her Kiddushin? Give this woman Kiddushin. V'halach, and he went, v'hilva shalzav, and he lent him gold instead. So you're supposed to lend him silver, he lent him gold. In other words, he gave her gold for Kiddushin. So is that Kiddushin or not? So since it wasn't, so he says that's what the Mishnah was talking about. When the Mishnah talked about the Kiddushin was supposed to be one thing, it turned out to be the other. The case was where the man told the agent to use silver, and the agent borrowed or lent him gold instead, and gave it to the woman. So Mar Savar Kapeda. The first opinion, the Chachamim who say it's not Kiddushin, they hold kapeda. They hold when he said silver, he meant silver. He was makbid. He wanted him to specifically give her silver. Umar Savar, and the other opinion held, Mare Makum Hulo. He was just, Mare Makum is like an example, sort of. He was just telling him, making it easier for him, like, here, use this type of thing. But he didn't really care what it was. And so, what he meant was, what he really meant was, you don't have to worry about finding the best stuff, about finding gold. You can just use silver if you want. But he's happy for him to use gold. So that's the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who said, as long as it's better, then it works. That's how he understands this case. So Abaye was saying the case of the Mishnah is not where a man gave a woman silver and it turned out to be gold. She thought she was getting silver, it turned out to be gold. The case was a man told his shliach, his agent, to use silver, and the agent ended up using gold. So, let's probably assume, let's say it was in the end the same value, right? Maybe to keep things simple. It wasn't more expensive, maybe it was less gold, but it came out to the same value, it was just a different material. So, the first opinion holds, it's not Kiddushin, kapeda, he meant silver. He wanted him to give her silver. And the other opinion, Rabbi Shimon says, no, it's fine, as long as it's a better material, so why not? He was just saying silver as an example to make it easier. You don't have to go out of your way to get gold. But if you got gold, then he's happy with it, and it's still Kiddushin. Asks the Gemara, Ihachi, if that's the case, if the case is that he appointed his agent and said to the agent to use silver and the agent used gold, Hiskachi li, why does the Mishnah say, be mikudeshes to me? That sounds like the man is talking to the woman. If the case, and telling her it's silver. If the case is where he's talking to an agent and saying, you use silver, and the agent ends up using gold. So then, at best, we're quoting the agent. The agent now goes to the woman and says, be mikudeshes to him. So why does it say be mikudeshes to me if it's an agent working here? Hiskad shiyu lo mi bayile. It should have said be mikudeshes to him. That's question number 1 on this approach. Hita lishvach. It also said in the Mishnah, if he tricked her, but to her benefit. She got something better, but he tricked her. Hitehu lishvach mi bayile. It should be that he tricked him. I don't know, tricked is the best word, but he changed on him, meaning the agent switched it up on the sender, on the man. Nothing got switched on the woman. She had no idea that it was supposed to be silver and ended up being gold. She was just given gold. So she wasn't told anything else. So it's not that he switched it on her, it's that the agent switched it on him, it should say. And third of all, nimtza, it turned out to be gold. Meikar nami dezav hava. It was gold the whole time. Meaning, if he told her it was silver and it turned out to be gold, she found it was gold, then it makes sense that she found it was gold. But if he told the agent to use silver, and the agent took gold and gave her gold, so it's not like it turned out to be gold, it was gold the whole time. So these are the questions on Abaye's approach to this Mishnah in learning that the Mishnah is talking about where a man appointing an agent to go and give her silver and the agent gave her gold. So Ella, my Rava, so rather Rava says a different approach. Ani va'arisha v'chaburi targimna. Me and the lion of the group explained it. Umanu, who's the lion of the group? Rabbi Chia bar Oven. Rabbi Chia. Hacha b'mayaskin. Here, what are we dealing with? Kigon sha'amra hi l'shlucha. It's not that the man appointing an agent, it's that she appointing an agent. Say v'kabel li Kiddushin miploni. Go accept Kiddushin from so-and-so. Sha'amar li hiskadshi li b'dinar shal kesef. That he said to me, accept Kiddushin with a dinar of silver. So, that takes care of the words hiskadshi. The man had told her, accept Kiddushin from me with silver. Now, he didn't have the money on him. And now she's sending her agent. So she says to her agent, go accept the Kiddushin from the man who told me, be mikudeshes to me with silver. V'halach v'nasan lo dinar shel zav. And he gave the agent the man, instead of giving the agent silver, he gave him gold on behalf to give to the woman. So all the things make sense now. He said, "Iskad Shili, be Mekudeshes to me." That's what he had told her. Hit Lishvach. He tricked her. He switched her up on her, but he gave her better. And finally, it was Nimtza. Oh, well, we'll get to Nimtza in a moment. When she found it was gold. So let's see that in a moment. So what are they? And they're arguing about the same, kind of the same as we explained before. Mar Savar Kapeda. The Chachamim would say it's not Kiddushin hold, it's a Kapeda. She said, go accept silver. She didn't say accept gold. She cares. Umar Savar Mara Makom Hilo. And the other opinion says, no, she was just telling her agent, what to expect. That it's fine if it's silver, basically. She was making it easier. If what he gives you is silver, that's fine. Gold, even better. But she's happy to get gold. That's the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, and that's why Rabbi Shimon says it is Kiddushin. So Umay Nimtza, the Gemara says. So what do we mean Nimtza? It turned out it was gold because when there was the agent that she sent, when it was handed to her, nobody told him that it was silver. The man told him it was gold. So there was never a point where somebody thought it was silver, and then it turned out to be gold. And according to this opinion, she wasn't even expecting specifically silver, because she was really just Mara Malcolm. She was saying, if it's silver, it's fine, but it could be gold too. So, in other words, also, I suppose what we're saying is when, in this approach, we're assuming that when she said, go accept silver, it's not that the man specifically told her that it was silver. She was just saying that to her agent, if it's silver, it's fine, and if it's gold, even better. So then, what's Nimtza? What do you mean it turned out to be gold? Was she expecting silver specifically? No, she had just said, if it's silver, it's fine. So, my Nimtza dikotsayer bavlisa. The case was that he gave it to the agent covered and the agent didn't know what it was. And it turned out it was gold. So that's just the Nimtza. The Nimtza was that when it was uncovered eventually, it turned out to be gold. That's the words Nimtza here. They found that it was gold. But according to this opinion, this is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, the way Rav is approaching it, when she tells her agent, go get the Kiddushin from the man who said, Iskad Shili dinar shel kesef, Dimu Kadeshes to me with a silver dinar, she doesn't care specifically that it be silver. She's just saying, even if it's silver, it's fine. If it's gold, even better. And that's why Rabbi Shimon says that if it turns out to be gold, then it's fine. As opposed to the Chachamim, who understand that if she said that she wants silver, then we understand that to mean she wants silver specifically. She's not just saying anything goes, silver is fine, gold's fine. She means silver specifically, and that's why the Chachamim of the Mishnah say that it wouldn't, if it's not what she said she wants, it would not be Kiddushin.